Talk with Teddy starts now. You picked a topic, I picked a guest. Remember, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube page, Facebook, and more. You're listening to Talk with Teddy on WLFE DB Radio Network. Please check out our website at WLFE-DB.com. Holy moly, this is going to be a fun show tonight. I'm so excited about this. I have a beautiful co-host here tonight, Miss Kat Hobson. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we spoke and seen each other, and Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's been that long. We've talked since then, or messaged, but we haven't really gotten together.
Right. And real quick, Kate, tell the people that are in the chat room what radio network you're from and a little bit about yourself, if you wouldn't mind.
I do not mind. I am the host of Paranormal Experience Radio and Fate Magazine Radio. I own WBHM Digital Broadcasting. I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I am learning all the things that I need to know about ufology, hopefully. But I've really gotten into that lately. It's kind of a fun new genre for me, but I still love my paranormal investigations, so that's fun.
Yeah, UFOs. I gotta imagine there's a lot of things to learn. I don't know if I could get into the whole UFO thing, to a heavy advantage of any type. I mean, I'm good with Paratalk Radio on this show. This show I love beyond
belief. This show is fun.
Yeah, this show's very fun, and I like the variety. I like bringing on certain guests, like our guest, Opie Day. How are you, Opie?
I'm good, Ted. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me to spend a little time with you guys. Also, good evening, Kat. Thank you for being here with us. And this is something I was looking forward to all day. I'm always, anxious to spend time with nice people. And, this looks like it's going to be a fun show.
I think
this is going to be great. This is going to be great. I love like I said, the variety. And like last night, was it last night? We had, no, it was the night before. We had a young lady that cut her very first single over in the UK from Ireland. She did her very first single off of an album that she's got, and to have her on to kind of play a little bit of the song and sing a little bit of the song and talk and all that stuff. It was just amazing. We go from Ireland back to the States, and I'm all excited, and so it's just going to be a fun night. So, and Opie, pretty much, I'm a member of a page that Opie's a member of. My mom is Seneca Indian, and my father has a little Sioux and Blackfoot and whatever else he's got in him. And I pretty much follow my mom's side. And my grandmother was Lady Hummingbird was her name. And she was one of them that she was always out in the garden. She was always gardening, pruning flowers. She was always growing certain herbs and stuff. And she would have hummingbirds land on her hands all the time. And then she told me the trick. It was a little bit of sugar water she would put on her hands, and the hummingbirds would come and try and lick it off her hands, which was amazing.
That's cool.
But she told some great stories, and I wrote. I'm a singer-songwriter as well, and I produced an album in 1999, and one of the very first tracks off that is "Who Really Cried for the Red Man," which is a song that I wrote for my grandmother. It was all about her life and her family prior, and the battles, the wars, the poverty, the stuff that they went through, and it was just it meant a lot to me. But I got all of my stuff, like my singing and my planting and all that stuff from my grandmother, I think. So I make a pretty good housewife, I think.
Are you auditioning for the role?
Yes, apparently.
That's so funny that you talk about the connection to the plants, to the animals, to the way of life like that. It reminds me of a story that happened to us last summer. As a group, Midnite Express, we travel all over the United States and Canada singing, at powwows and round dances and whatnot. And last summer we had went to Mandaree, North Dakota, for a big celebration, and they were putting on probably the biggest contest that I've ever had the experience of being in, singing wise. And we got there, and right where we set our drum up, we go down, we put our drum down, we put our tobacco down, we set up our chairs, our family sits around us, and there just so happened to be this bird that was laying there, and it looked hurt. It looked like it was hurt. And
Wow.
my wife, she took notice of it right away. And
Somebody's excited. Somebody's excited.
My son, he sings all night and day. Anyway, my wife took notice to that bird, being injured like that, and she picked it up and she held it in her hand. It must have been for a good 3-4 hours, and it was
Wow.
our turn to sing. They came all the way around. They came to our drum. It's our very first song of the weekend. Friday night. It's a big deal for us. It's a big commotion. You know what I mean? It's your
Right.
first song. You want to set the bar high. You want to do your best. And we started singing. My wife, she sings behind us. As a woman singer, they stand behind us and they sing. And she was standing there singing, and we actually have a video of this. And she's holding that bird in her hand. And right in the middle of the song, while we're all singing, that bird just takes flight, takes off. Also all of a sudden it wasn't hurt. There was nothing wrong with it, and it just took off in the middle of the song. And you could see her and my sister, because they're standing behind us singing. They both their eyes follow the bird. You can watch it, and it takes off.
Wow.
Everyone was just amazed, like, "Wow, man! Did you guys see that?" While they're singing, and So it's a very very spiritual, very cultural thing that we do. When we sing, around the drum, and it's something that has brought me to many wonderful places, and I've met very wonderful people because of it. The singing has brought me here tonight with you guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm very grateful and fortunate to to have that aspect of my life. To be culturally active in that way.
Well, I caught your. It was the last post that you put, and it was it was a song, something to do with your mother.
It was a War Mother song.
The War Mother song.
Yeah, there was, with powwows not being, being canceled left and right because of this pandemic going on, because of this coronavirus. This is the time when they would normally be picking up, and we would be going all over the place. Yes. Yeah, traveling, and so we're not able to do that. So in the meantime, what a lot of families, organizations have been doing is they've been putting on online contests, and it's been really fun. It's been a way for us to share our music still, a way for us to continue to do what we would normally do. And we can't all be together, obviously,
right,
at this time, but it's still there's still a way for us to get our music out there, to get our feelings out there, and to share. And that particular contest was a veteran song contest. It was honoring, one of the families were honoring a veteran that has passed on. So what they had asked was for all the participants to share a veteran song.
Mm.
And I was trying to think of the right song to sing at that time.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, this is my son. This is baby O. Say hi.
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 So going over songs, I wanted to sing, something that would be appropriate for the moment,
Right.
And with it being Mother's Day coming up, and with the whole today is a very special day for our people. By the way, it's the day that we honor the murdered and missing Indigenous women today. So with all these things going on, I felt it appropriate to sing a song about the women. So many times when war times are talked about, there's not enough credit that's given to the women, to the mothers, to the wives, to the sisters that stayed back and took care of things and handled things while everyone else was out. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
this song was made by a grandmother. Her name was Eleanor Chase, from the Bois Forte Ojibwe Reservation in North Dakota. And she had mentioned that was her feelings about this song, was that she wanted to honor those women in that way. And so I just and from the very first time I heard that song, I was like taken back by it, like blown away, like, wow, this is such a beautiful song. So I chose
Wow.
to sing that song, for this contest, and it brought up a lot of good feelings, a lot of sentimental, ties to that song, and it felt really good to share it with everybody.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to say here real quick, I want to say hello to our people in our chat room real quick. We have Octane over here on the StreamYard. We have Robert White from Australia joining us here as well. We have Ruth Ann Hilliard on the watch party, Bobby McCready, Jeremy Farr, Nicole Yonda, man, Matt Warner, Elizabeth Maybe. Hello, Lizzie, Dizzy Lizzie. How are you, honey? Miss you. Grant Gaskin, and there's a list. So I will say hi to more of you as we get along here. So, Kat, feel free to jump right in whenever you have a question or, knock me out if you could reach me.
Oh, well, I like you too much for that. But I am really interested, Opie, and I know you started this as a child,
Yes.
and when you lost your dad, it became more with the singing.
Yeah.
So, when you were starting out, how old were you when you first started drumming?
I was probably as old as my son that came jumping on my shoulder. You know,
Ah,
I remember, my mom tells stories about when I was a baby. She had made me a pillow. It was a circle pillow, and she made it the diameters of my dad's drum. So when he wasn't singing, they would lay that pillow on the drum, and that's where I would sleep. So I have a connection to the drum, that goes as far back as before I could even walk, But
that's awesome.
yeah, this is something that is taught, is passed down from generations to generations. My father was a singer, and my mother, bless her heart, she is still a singer. You know how Ted, how you said you get everything from your grandma. That's the same way I feel about my singing. Everything I got from singing, everything, the singer that I am today, everything is due to my mom. Due to my mom
Right.
being there for me. My father, as Kat, had said earlier, he had passed away when I was around 11 years old. So I was raised pretty much by the women folk in my family, my mother, my aunts, and how we have kinfolk in our ways is your aunts are kind of become your mothers. You have more than one mom. All my aunts, I don't call them my aunts very much. They're my other moms, and when I talk to them, it's, hey mom, how's it going? So I was raised, to have the highest respect, for women. And I owe my mom everything. If you're watching, mom, I love you.
Awesome.
So yeah, ever since, I'm 43 right now, and in 23 days I'll be 44. But for a good 30, 35, 36 years, I have been around the drum. That has been my life. Even my name. My name is. The full word is it's Opichee, in Ojibwe and Anishinaabe Moan. Opichee, he is the keeper of the songs. So
Wow.
even before I was, as I was born, my mom always says, I knew this way of life was your road. You were born for this, So I've my whole life I've been a singer, and I'm very proud of
Oh,
that.
you should be. That's
You
amazing.
should be. It's not a story to you, it's your life, but to hear it, it is a beautiful story.
Yeah, my mom,
So,
she recently just sent me a link, a story on Facebook, and it talks about the Opichee. And he, as a boy, there was this boy. On a he was sent on a journey, like a vision quest sort of thing, and his dad the boy's dad had wanted him to be a big strong warrior. He wanted to be a hunter, a provider, like most fathers would want for their sons, to be like the best athlete, like that. And he went on his vision quest, and
There's
and
mom, I think,
there's
right
my
there.
mom right there,
is that
yeah.
your mom? Yeah.
That's her right there. correcting me once again, my father named me before my birth. So even before I was born, I was, you know, this was foreseen, you know. But
That's beautiful.
the boy was sent on his vision quest. His father sent him out in the woods, you know, and for 4 days, he he didn't quite have the vision his father had foreseen, had wanted for him. So the following year, same thing. He sent him back out in the woods, you know, and same thing. His vision 4 times, and on the 4th time he sent him out in the woods, you know, that the boy was kind of feeling bad, and he was kind of sad that, you know, he felt like he was letting his father down, you know, and all he wanted was to make his father proud.
Yeah.
And so on the 4th day of the 4th year, his dad went to go get him out in the woods where he had left him, to go find his way. And when he got there, his son wasn't there, and he cried, and he was sad. And there was a robin there, and that robin, you know, finally it started getting dark, and the father, no sight of his son, started to head back to the village, and that robin followed him the whole way back. You know, he was chirping, he was singing on the whole way back. You know, a year passed, comes, and the dad went back to the spot where he last seen his son, because, you know, he was gonna bring some things, a memorial type thing for his son. And when he got there, that robin was there again. And that robin started to talk to him. Wow. And the robin said, "Dad, don't worry about me." You know, he said, I found my way. I found my path. I was meant to be a singer. I was meant to share these songs, to keep these songs for our people. And, you know, don't cry for me. Don't feel sad. I'm here, and I'll always be with you. And that is our story of the Opichee. Opichee means robin in Anishinaabe. And so that's how my name came to be, because of that story, that tale. And I actually, my son, the one you heard beating on the drum earlier, his name is Opichee. I passed that name down to him. And so for him being 2 years old, he's already a singer. He gets up every morning, and you know, most kids get up and they play toys or this night. He gets up and he grabs his drum and he sings, and you know, so that is, you know, it's, you know, was passed on to me, and I'm passing it on to him.
That's beautiful.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I see that I'm freezing up here a little bit.
You're looking good
like
here.
I'm looking good there. Okay. Well, to me, it looks like I'm freezing up, so maybe it's just my window. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when I was younger, probably in my teens, I learned how to make a drum. And with the whole process, it's I thought it was going to be really, really hard. My first thought was, wow, how am I going to do this? You know, I was given the tools and I was told, make the drum. And it took me a while to figure out how to, I had to get the leather, you know, wet, and I had to get it all, you know, stretched down over the drum, and then let it dry, and to tune it, and then the sinew and all that. It was a lot, but at the end, I was so proud of building my very first drum.
Yep.
And it's just one of those things that it's kind of like a rite of passage, I think, in some ways, of making your very first drum, and I still have that drum today. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly like you said. It's a rite of passage. You know, as you get to be a certain age in life, there are certain things that as an Anishinaabe man, you're supposed to know how to do by that age, and one of them is to be able to make a drum, like you said. You know, and it's such an awesome feeling, isn't it? You know,
it was just great. It was awesome when it was done.
Yeah, I was actually, before we came online, I was actually sewing some drumsticks, you know. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So.
I tried to make the sticks. It was just so hard. I got lazy and bought regular drumsticks from the music store.
Well, you can see, like this one here, it's made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that up, Opie. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now,
turquoise.
what's the end made of? Isn't that leather as
Yeah,
well?
you have like leather sewn around it. Yeah, leather sewn around it. And then this is just like shiny tape, to fancy it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It
beautiful
looks.
though.
It is. It's very beautiful. I know that with different like when my mom was Seneca, I know there's some differences and stuff, but overall, I think there's a lot of things that are the same. Um, but I don't know a lot about the Ojibwe. I don't know a lot about them. Uh, I don't know. I tried to do a little bit of research myself, and I don't want to sound like a total idiot here. But um, I know that on my mother's side, it was very hard for her, especially here in this area. We do have a reservation about an hour from here, and going there, it's always been. I cross the line, to go into the reservation, and I get that feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be, like home. It's
Yeah,
like a very weird feeling. I don't know how to describe it.
Now,
Um,
is that
it's
the
a spiritual home.
yeah? Is that the Seneca Allegheny Reservation? Is that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
okay. I've been there. It was a few years ago actually. We performed at the NAMI Awards there at the beautiful casino there. Wow,
Oh yeah,
that place.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful country there. Wow,
yeah, yeah. I love just going there and just driving through. You can drive, anywhere and through there, and it's just when I get down, I guess once in a while when I need to clear my head, that's where I go.
Oh
Everybody's like,
yeah,
where did Teddy go? Well, he's driving. So if I ever get lost,
Yeah,
Cat, look there first because
I will
that's
go
where I
there
am.
first.
yeah.
But
I thought we were gonna.
I'm I'm sorry. I was just going to say I'm actually Cherokee, and
Nice.
my through my father's line, and it's we were both Western and Eastern band. So we had somebody who was already in the Western band, and we had people that walked the trail. But it is just absolutely amazing how much sound can feed your soul.
Mm,
Whether it's a sound bowl, whether it's a drum. Yeah, I
hmm
like the bowls too. But one of the things that I've done through this pandemic period is that I have actually been playing round dances, sharing them on my Facebook and stuff
Yeah.
because you just have to appreciate that beauty
Oh yeah.
and the ability and the story that's told through the dancing and the music and you know even people that don't know what that is are really enjoying that. So I think that's pretty okay.
Yeah. I tend to be a jerk sometimes to like when I come through. Yeah, go figure, right? I'm very
I am
proud of my
shocked.
heritage. I'm very proud of my father's Irish history. That's why I'm sort of looking kind of Irishy here.
Yeah,
Plus I'm going to Ireland in
I
June.
saw that.
And but I'm also very proud of my mom. So like I have two types of CDs in my truck. I have the Irish music, and then I have the native music, and I will get I'll get to playing one of them, and I'll just blare it and go through town, and people are always looking, going, there he goes, and they always have something to say, but I'm very proud of it, and I don't care what people say, and I probably never will, but I don't look natives, I look Irish more than
Yeah.
anything, so they kind of expect that from me, I guess, these days. But it is what it is. I was gonna ask you, Opie, like, I saw the on the. I'm trying to think of what the name of the group we're in. Anyways,
The social distance group,
yeah, it might be.
the follow group.
Yeah, yeah, and they're constantly putting up the competitions, even some of the old
Mhm.
competitions, just to um, kind of keep it alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they start out. If you get a chance, Kat, I'll share it with you. But you can see they start them very young with dancing, and it's very, very
Yes.
interesting to see how these young kids grow and
Yeah.
do these dances, and then it's amazing to me. I mean, I'm a big guy. It's amazing to me to see some of these guys dressed and they're big guys, and they're out there. It
Yes.
might even be 3 minutes. By 90 seconds, I'm gonna be winded and on the ground flopping around like a fish out of water. I mean, it's a lot of work to dance
Well,
and
and
the
you have
feet
to keep
movement.
moving. You have to keep moving to keep the bells
Hmm.
and, to keep everything flowing with your drummer. And
Right.
it's just really, I think it's really awesome.
So
It's
do
funny
I.
that you brought up the big guys dancing. One of my brothers, he made a challenge on Facebook where you had to sing and dance at the same time. Now, me being a
Oh,
singer, I've sang my whole life, and it's difficult enough to sing, at
Yeah.
the level that we do sing. But to dance along to you singing yourself, like I actually tried it and I gave up like 3 times. Like I think I like pulled a muscle in my leg even like, man, this isn't gonna happen. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, bro, but I tried. But yeah, these are things that we're taught,
Yeah.
from almost from birth.
yeah.
I can remember when my son, when baby Opie took his first steps, when he was first able to walk. As Anishinaabe people, we are taught you don't carry your children in the arena, in the dance arena, because the blessings and everything that goes along with it. When you do that, they're looked at as gifts, like you're giving your child away. If that makes sense. So
Hmm.
for that reason, we don't carry our kids. So I remember we were in Rocky Boy, Montana, at a Christmas round dance, and he had like started to take it, like he took his first steps, I think, like the day before we left to go there. And when we got to the round dance, I was just so happy to be able to take him out to the arena and for him to take his first steps on his
Yeah.
own out there, so he could plant his own feet in the arena and make his own path, and establish himself as a part of that circle.
Yeah.
So I get what you mean, about that. It's
Yeah.
Well, traditions are so important, and that's what that comes down to be is pretty much just a family tradition. It's like it's something that um, we all have, no matter where you come from. We
Yep.
all have traditions, and a lot of them are very important. I know that in certain rites of over in Ireland and Druids and stuff over there. I mean, some of their rites of passage are tattoos. Some of the rites of passage are staying out, out in the wild for a week, and fending for yourself. I mean, there's so many different rites of passages, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. Sometimes I think, and this may sound so superficial, but at the same time, I think it's like, could I have done that 200 years ago? Stay out there 7 days. I would like to think I could, but I don't know. I don't know. But right.
one of my favorite shows to watch is I recently got hooked on was Vikings.
Oh, the Vikings, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and like watching, like how things happened in their time. I wanted that too.
Yeah.
Like, man, could I do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously our people did.
Yes.
Way back when. They managed to survive and to live life. Living that way. So
Right.
it's possible. I just don't know if I could be able to do it at this time.
Right.
Well, we're very different people in a very different culture now. So
Yeah,
we're not conditioned to do those things
very,
because we're very spoiled a
We
bit,
are very spoiled. We
as we
are.
have all found out in the last 6 weeks.
Hmm.
So, you know, we have a question or a comment from your mom.
Oh, yep, I
And
did see that.
I
Yep.
want to hear this because this is what I was sharing the dances for. And where she says, please share about dancing being a prayer for healing as well as a social gathering. Many things go into a dance before a dancer ever steps into the arena. And that's what the dances I've been sharing have been solo dances.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is very much for healing for the world, I think. And that's why I share them. So why don't you talk a little bit about that if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like with everything in life, there's there's rules, there's procedures, there's protocols, and
Right.
all with dancing and all that, it goes hand in hand with that. A lot of times before a dancer even pulls out their their clothes, their any clothes, I don't know what you call it, regalia or outfit or whatnot. Before they even pulling things out, there's a procedure. They'll smudge their things off. You know what I mean? They'll pray. They'll pray
Yes.
for good feelings. Before they even get dressed. And then
Yes.
a lot of dancers, will put different medicines. They'll wear their medicines. They'll put them in their moccasins. And so it's a process. It's not just putting on a bunch of feathers and running out there and jumping around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a connection to every piece of every article of clothing that we wear. And it all has a meaning. It all has a purpose. It all came from somewhere. And most people, their outfits, they make their own outfits. Or like the way we're taught is you have to put your hands on something that is, at least do something, that is of your regalia. You have to, make a part of it or something.
Yes.
So all of that factors in, when people go dance and all that, and there are certain dances that are looked at as healing dances,
Yes.
for our people, for Anishinaabe, we pride ourselves on the jingle dance. That is one particular dance that has come from our people, and it came in the form of a dream. Old man, his daughter was sick, and he had a dream of these women coming, in particular colors, particular style dresses, their hair worn a certain way, all of that. So when he awoke from his dream, he spoke to his wife about what had came to him, and they put it together. They made the dresses. They handpicked women from their community, and dressed them in this dress. We did this dance, and by the end of the dance, um, his daughter was up and walking. She was up and
Yeah.
she's walking. She started dancing with the dancers. So there's a very spiritual, very powerful connection that we have, to these certain dances, to these particular dances.
That's beautiful.
That is. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I was going to mention something that you had brought up, and it's something that crosses in not just native um, native history or anything else. Is even in Ireland. I'm going to bring that up again. Is like your energy, your life force is very important, and so with making your tools or your dress and stuff like that, it's one of those things where I know from that side we are supposed to make our own stuff. It's because we have to put our energy into that um,
Yeah.
to make it spiritual, to make it us. I make it. I guess that's the best way to put it. And with doing that, it also like it helps us. With the creator, it helps us stay connected. And like the earth, I come from a very spiritual side where the earth is our mother, is the one. That's where we came from, and that's where we'll go back to. And it's very important to me. Like with making my drum, we made a lot of things on our own. In fact, when I was probably 7 or 8, my mother showed me how to sew, and it was one of those lessons that I will never forget. And passing that on, I think, is important too. Unfortunately, I don't have any kids, but it's something in life I don't think that we have anymore because we have become lazy.
Yeah.
That everything has been given to us and it's all pre-made. So for us to know the experience, the spiritual experience of creating something on our own, like a drum or a rattle or our clothing, um, to anything to that fact, it's just it's gone. It's not
Yeah.
there, and it really, in plain English, sucks because I think it hurts the generations that are coming.
Well, it does. And, you hear people discuss that about why and people always fuss about the coming generations. Okay.
Right. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
nothing new.
it's just not new. But what I see is that there's a whole lot of, well, I can't believe it's like the protests about not wearing masks or not wearing. You're not wearing a mask to protect just you. You're wearing a mask to protect other people too. But it's an important thing right this red hot minute. It's not
It's a
like you're going to have to do it
selfishness.
forever. It is a gross selfishness.
Yes, it
And,
is.
when people were buying food, you know, I keep a pantry, but I was buying more, like rice and beans and stuff like that, just because you didn't know,
Right.
how many people would be sick and if there would be, still people to keep the power going and stuff, because that's the main thing. I have an electric stove. So it was trying to keep enough to take care of necessities, but people were buying prepackaged and terrible for you stuff you don't have to cook, and that's not going to keep as a rule.
Right.
If it does, it's not good for you. So a lot of the things that aren't taught anymore, I get in a lot of trouble sometimes because I always say, yeah, those are the kids raised by the everybody gets a trophy parents, or grandparents.
But you
But it's
understand,
just-
it's
yeah.
it's
I mean,
true.
I do understand. It's when I was coaching kids soccer, when my kids were little, there were all these people, yet we wouldn't even keep score. And I'm like, oh, we're keeping score. We are keeping score. I just kicked your butt 14-1. But my little 4-year-olds. But it's just, and if I didn't keep score, the kids did.
Right.
Because it mattered to them. This was something that they liked to do.
Well, I think that's the other point is what matters is like my family, my direct family, we always sat down and went through our history, our family tree. We were raised to know where we came from, to connect to all of the bloodlines, to all of that, and because it's very, very important. But unfortunately, the newer generations that are coming after us, they have no interest. They'd rather play video games. They'd rather, do something else instead of figure out where they came from or what was important. And that's sad. I mean, we still plant. I mean, I was just out planting rhubarb and strawberries and food that we're going to need. You don't know where this epidemic's going to go. So providing for your family is still one of those things. So planting is important.
Right.
Do
you know
herbs,
that they're not
everything.
selling seeds. You can't buy food seeds here.
Oh, really?
And I find that to be more alarming, I think, than anything else, is that the government is telling you that you cannot provide your own food. You cannot grow your own food.
Crazy.
That's
crazy.
telling. That is very telling of their mindset to me. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Well, you know what I do. I host Fate Magazine Radio. I hear everything from everywhere with people that are used to telling the magazine all their strange things. And so I get that too. It's really interesting to see what people say about what's been going on. And everywhere from conspiracy theories to, there's so much weird stuff involved with this pandemic that all you have to do really is take care of you and your family. And if you take care of yourself, you're taking care of your family.
Right.
Because it's so contagious, apparently.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, they talk of second waves coming and stronger than the first and all that, and currently, we live in Bismarck, North Dakota, and as of May 1st, the governor opened up the state here, opened things up again, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
It's scary. It's very scary.
I'm also one of those people who, reads between the lines and looks outside the box.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, they only tell us what they want us to know or they want us to hear. You know, that a lot of times the full truth isn't shared with the people. You know, so it's hard to sometimes listen to mainstream media for the simple fact that you when you know they're not being, you know, transparent with you. You know, so you know, and I totally get what you're saying. You know, when you talk about the trophy parents and all that. You know what I mean? Because you know that one thing that we're taught as a people is you know you do your best to help yourself, and you know, and I read an interesting thing just the other day, and it said, you know, a real chief is not the one that has all the jewels, the medals, the accolades. He is the one that gives those to his people to make sure that they are okay. You know, that they're taken. You know, so this, you know, and this stuff it is scary. You know what I mean? And you know
it is.
you know, for us as a family, with the exception of us going to powwows and going to round dances and you know going to school, we're pretty much a stay-at-home type of family anyway. So it hasn't been too difficult, you know, for us, you know, because that's what we do anyways, is stay home. But you know, one thing that has kept me going and kept me, you know, keeping me positive in that is the drum. You know, is being able to sing. You know, like I said, I sing with, you know, my wife sings, my little baby son sings. You know, my daughter dances.
Yes.
And so you know, these are things that you know our ways, still having a way to you know to practice our ways. You know, and that's one thing cool about the social distance whole thing and the other pages that are doing this is they're giving us a platform, you know, to still to be able to share these things that we take pride in, you know.
Right, right. They say that this whole thing of being home, not working, the social distancing and everything is going to help the family core with passing on traditions and myths and stories and all that stuff. And I think that's very important. Elizabeth Maybe over here has a little comment. She says, I think you need to know where you came from to know where you are going. And I think that's very true. You know, very, very true.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to say to me that in every story, no matter where the story comes from, there's always a truth. And it's up to you to figure out what the truth is for you, your own truth. So no matter the news, like what you were saying, Opie, it's like I get tired of listening to it because it's the same circle. It never changes, and you have to sit there and go, okay, so what are they, what are they not telling us? Let's weed through all of that and see where it goes. They have opened up buses here to where you can, ride together on a bus. The airplanes, there's everything. They've opened up everything here. I live in the middle of like nowhere in New York. I'm not anywhere near New York City or anything like that. I live in the country, and here it's I joke about it, but it's really true. We have more cows than we do people, and it's still strange to go out and go to the store and see people walking the streets, even a small town, without a mask, or in a store without a mask. And I always tell my parents, because I'm taking care of them, because in their 80s, you have to take care of the elderly,
Yes.
And taking care of them, it's like, if I don't wear my mask, not only am I going to catch what they have because they can sneeze, they can whatever, I don't want to bring it back to my family. So, you have to take all those precautions, but it just amazes me how many people don't, and it's scary to think that if the second round comes, the second wave, how many more people are going to die? How many more people are going to be affected by something that they themselves could be helping with,
I know.
protecting.
And the way that this virus behaves is so bizarre anyway. It's damaging arterial tissue, it's damaging lung tissue. It's a condition I think called glass lung, which all of the stuff that's in you is hardening. That's why people can't get past the pneumonia part of it, because it just overwhelms. But it's destroying things that they're only just now finding out. And while it doesn't necessarily kill younger people, it has a lot more, like they'll have strokes because the arterial system isn't working. I mean, it does things that you would never hear of a virus doing. It's just unbelievable. And
that isn't one of those things, Kat, that makes you think like how
totally,
how did this come to be?
yeah,
like Ted said earlier, the big question is why.
yeah.
Why is this all happening now at this time? What is the real thing going on behind this? And I like I said, that's how I think, that's how I operate too. So it's just and it's so hard to get good evidence or facts or anything like that, because everything is portrayed in the eyes that they want it to be seen, and in the eyes of truth, so to say.
I've
I
seen
agree with you.
I see where there, it was like 2 weeks the president said we're shutting everything down, and then not even a week and a half later he's like, I want everything open back up. And it's like to me it was crazy. It was crazy talk.
Yeah.
It's like it's going to affect so many people, but to
But they
kind of
also don't have money to eat.
right.
So,
Well, yeah, and that's scary.
yeah.
I mean,
That's why you plan. I mean,
well, that, but I
that's
mean, I
terrible, but
always, I was raised where you help your neighbor, you
you
help
do.
the person across the street, your own family, you give, and you give,
Yes.
and everybody's like so selfish. Well, if you give that away, you don't have it. Well, we'll
But
figure it out when it happens. But
yeah.
this is what you're supposed to do, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
We'll deal with the consequences when it happens.
Yeah.
But I know I can still eat and I can provide, and I've told plenty of people I have food. You need food? Come to my house. I'll leave it on the edge of the driveway
Yeah.
for you. You need a blanket, you need a pillow, whatever you need. I will try to provide that for you because that's what I was taught to do.
Well, you take care of your community.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I have 9 acres of herbs and plants of different types. I have fish. I have a lot of fish. I have the Canisius Lake that comes through my home. I mean, I have so much here that I don't even think about. They need it. There you go.
right.
It's right there. And it's sad to see that some people are just hoarding everything, like with the toilet paper. It was
Oh,
crazy
that
for
was
me.
ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
It was
You know,
crazy for me.
and
So,
they were
but
reselling it like on eBay and stuff for thousands of
did
dollars.
you see that? There was a
Yes.
bottle of hand sanitizer
Yes.
for $500. I'm like, you paid like $5.99 for it, but now it's
Yeah.
$500. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
totally crazy.
It
So
is crazy.
I want to say real quick, because I haven't said it in a while. There's a few more people that have come in here. I want to say hi to Ray Pellegrini, Scott Sutherland, Keith. I'm going to screw up your last name, so I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to say Keith. Charles, Jim, Xavier, Harry, Pamela, Joe, Sage, and Allie. Thank you so much for joining us here. I wanted to kind of go back to something. We started off with a conversation with singing. Um, I remember a story. Well, I won't say story, but it was a comment that, and I'll say back in the day because I'm not sure when that was, where women were not the singers. They did not
Yeah.
sing. It was the men's job to sing. Is that the way it's been? Is that how it was for the Ojibwe? Is that how that was?
Well, the origin story of the drum, the way it was told to us, is we look at things as everything is a circle. The circle of life.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
And, in the very middle of the circle of life is the drum, and that's why we call it the heartbeat of our people, because it's the center. Okay. Well, around the drum sit the men who sing on the drum, and then behind that circle is the women singers who stand behind the men and sing in unison and support with them. And that's another circle around the
Right.
drum. And then behind them is the dancers who dance. They dance around the drum. It's a whole other circle. You know, then you have the family, the people that gather at the town. Everything is in a circle.
Right.
Our story with the drum is the woman is the one who gave us the drum, and the women are the most powerful people in the world. That's how
Yeah.
we look at them. You know, women have the ability to give life.
Life. Yeah.
You know, and there's certain times during a woman's, you know, I don't know how to say the proper way, but there's certain times when women are more powerful than than they know, you know, and
Yes.
it's different reasons like this why the women, they don't actually in the Ojibwe way, they don't sit at the drum. They still sing, you know what I mean, but they stand behind the drum, you know, and it's different drums for different occasions, you know. My family is part of the Three Fires Society in Medellin Lodge, and actually my aunt who is like my mom who helped raise me, she is actually a drum keeper for our lodge, and she is a songbook for lodge. So you know, there's different drums, different type things, you know. But women are always held in the highest respect. Women are always held, you know, in the highest regard because of how powerful they are, and because of everything that they do, you know. So you know, when you see in like modern day society, when you know you see like men act more dominant in society like that, it's actually not that way for us. You know,
Right.
in our ways, you know, the women are they are the backbones of the family. You know, they're the backbones of our people.
Yeah.
That makes me smile because it brought back a memory for me of my grandmother. Um, she always used to tell us that the woman was the most important person in the household,
Yeah,
and she goes, we bring forth life, meaning we give you life, and if you don't behave, I'll take you out."
There you go.
your grandmother was a very wise woman. Yeah, something that you know my mom would say.
And she instilled wisdom in you and that you believed it and you knew it was true.
She taught me so many things because it was like she's the one that taught me how to respect nature as a child,
Yes.
where you didn't poke things, you didn't, like poking the bear, and I
Yes.
was very big into I don't know why, but the social life of ants. I loved the way that ants would work together to create their home and to bring food in and stuff like that. And I used to basically put my finger down on the porch where these big black carpenter ants were. And the one day, one bit me on my
Oh,
finger.
I didn't even know they'd
And
bite you.
oh, yeah. Well, when you're a little kid, yeah, but they clamp right on you. And my grandmother come out with a broom and she beat me. She didn't beat the ant. She beat me. She goes, "I told you, you don't mess with that stuff. They have a very important job to do, just like you do, and you will have. I'm not going to punish the ant. I'm going to punish you, because you shouldn't be doing that stuff. Everybody has a purpose, I think is what she said.
Right?
So I learned to respect, the earth and all of its creatures, no matter what. And to this day, Kat, I still believe that no matter where you come from, how bad you think you are, everybody has goodness inside of them. It's just finding a way to connect
Absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely.
Very wise
There's,
words, Ted. Very wise words.
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you. So,
And I totally agree with that.
um, your mom, she's great. I love your mom. She's
Your
got
mom
like
is a
lots of
hoot.
stuff to say. She's
Yes.
amazing and she's beautiful. I'm not
Yes, she
flirting with your
is.
mom. I'm just saying she's beautiful. Uh, there is a duality of roles for both men and women. Both are equal.
Yes.
And that's I see that here at home, and I'll be honest with you that it's been difficult at times because my father and I, being Roman Catholic and Irish, we butt heads sometimes, and it's because
Yeah.
I respect. My mother was like my best friend for the longest time. When I was touring with the bands and I was doing the whole East Coast and stuff, my mother would actually go with us, and she was like my best friend, but she taught me so much, and I wanted to give back. So when I was singing, I would just bring her with me. It was amazing. And so now there's times where they're both older and they sit at the table and they bicker. And I tell them all the time, it's like, if you two kids don't cut it out, I'm going to put you in different rooms.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad. So, there's so much that we could be talking about. I could do this for hours because I love the history, and that's one of the biggest things with me is history,
Yes.
and where people come from, and what they had to go through to get where they are today. And uh, the Native American people have some of the um, traumatic stories and the things that have happened to them in the past. Um, and I totally get it because
And in the current times as well.
Stu, yeah, but like the Irish side, we were like the first slaves that came
Yes.
over here. The Irish were beaten and sleeping. Oh God, the history. Believe me, and it's scary thoughts. It's very very scary thoughts to live that way, and to think no matter what your race is or what is taken away from you, it actually makes me angry.
Yeah.
You don't want to see me when I'm angry, but it does. It's like, but I think I've learned because of what I was taught over the years that you take that anger and you turn that into not just understanding, but also love and thinking that, and I think that's why I
Yes.
am the way today, where I want to know who you are. I won't judge you. I don't care, what you are. I want us to interact. I want us to be family. I want us to be human, the way we're
Yes.
supposed to be. None of that other garbage. So, sorry, had to get off my chest.
It's a good thing though, because it's
That's what
true.
we're here for.
If
Yeah,
we had that sense of community globally, then, or even just with your neighbors down the street when you're not, when they're not on their Xbox or whatever,
right.
people need to get rid of that stuff for 6 and 7 and 8 hours at a stretch and communicate and just go outside.
Well, people don't realize how important it is to take your shoes off, your socks off, and just
Yes.
go stand in your yard. Go stand in the mud. Go walking in the woods. It is
Yes.
so important to be connected to the earth, and it's they just don't understand that. I mean, I talked
Because
to
they don't get out in it
right. Well, I talked to
because
the
they're not
crow.
exposed.
I talked to the
Hmm.
crow. I talked to the deer.
Yes.
I've got a black mink that crawls up my hill back
Oh,
here. I talk to everything. You know,
yeah.
um, One of my favorite native singers is Bill Miller, who is Mohawk, and he has some beautiful music. And he had a song called "Raven in the Snow,"
Oh,
and it fit me. So I took that in, and it's like the
yeah.
song was just so powerful for me. So I took that in, and to this day, I think I've burned out probably 5 or 6 CDs. I buy them all the time because I just love it. But
Yeah.
um, it's just so important, and that's where I was going with this. It's just so important to stay connected um, to the earth because, like I said in the beginning, it's where we came from, and it's where we're going at the end. It's right back there.
Yes.
It's very very important. So. Well, Opie's like ready. He's like staring at the TV screen there.
I'm just loving, enjoying the conversation. You know what I mean? For being
Yes.
being quarantined down for so long. You know what I mean? It's always
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, talk. Let me hear you
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
You're
It's
outside my
to hear
house.
someone else's perspective and someone else's outlook on things. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm just in my glory right now. I'm so appreciative to be able to be here with you guys and to listen
Yeah.
to your guys' opinion
Yeah,
on these
yeah.
things too. You know.
There's not a lot of people like us though, just so you know, Opie. We're we're
Oh,
we're we're
yeah, I get that.
We're a little
we're
quirky.
That's why
yeah
it's so cool to be here with you guys right now.
yeah. I every time Kat, Jesus, why do I call you Kate?
I don't know, but I always answer you.
I know, but and it's funny if you look, mine is Ted Wolf and yours is Cat Hobson. So you got two animals with you, Opie.
Yeah.
Actually, Opichee means Robin, so we got
There you
Look at
three.
go.
that. Look at that. We got it all.
You
Yes.
know,
We got it all. So I wanted to talk about you are from the Fish clan,
yes, the Awasasi. It's the bullhead.
Owasasti.
Yeah, and in the Ojibwe way, you follow your father's clanship. And what's funny is when growing up for the longest time, like I said, my father made his journey when I was a lot younger, and so for the longest time, I just assumed I was my mother's clan, you know what I mean? And she wasn't until she actually told me, no, son, this is how it goes. This is who you are. And so I got to recognize and to to understand who I was a little more. Like you were talking about, you live right by the lake, and
Yeah.
all these fish you got, and I'm so jealous of people that get to eat fish, because being a fish clan, I'm not allowed to eat fish. So I always tease my mom, like, what did my people do way back in the day? Remember we were talking about,
Yes.
200 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
they eat if they didn't eat fish? What did my people do? How did we manage? 'Cause, like a big
Yeah.
staple for my people is like walleye. Obviously
Yeah.
being from Minnesota, the land of
Yeah.
10,000 lakes. There's
Yeah. Yeah.
walleye, northern
Yes.
whitefish. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't ever get to partake in any of that goodness because of
And
who I am.
That's wow.
Yeah, it's better
That's
than I know.
yeah.
yeah.
And what's funny about that is I am a big catfish. I love catfish. I've never tried noodling. I don't think I would ever do that,
No.
which is when you stick your hand in the
I've
Yes.
hole
seen
to grab the
that.
No.
So, yeah.
no. But
Hook and line for me all the time.
yeah, but I'm a catch and release person, so I try different techniques. I actually behind me there's on the wall there's probably 9 fishing poles. Um my all my other family are hunters. They all hunt, and
Yeah.
I never got into that. I did track though. I was very good at tracking,
Yeah.
and knowing the prints, the tracks. But fishing was my thing, And my mother always used to say, "It's like you're the fisherman of the family. You should go out and provide, the fish side." She goes, "I won't eat it, but your father will. So go catch him some fish."
And I remember the days of when my father was alive. I still have memories, of him and that.
Right.
Yes.
One of the big things he would do was he would set nets. He would set nets, and he had a smokehouse right outside the house. I always thought these things really, as I got older, really ironic. Like, if we weren't able to eat fish, why would he go to this
Right.
extent to to do it? And what he would do was he would go give them out in the community. He would,
Oh,
he would,
cool.
he
He
would
would feed others.
Yes, he
That's
would set
awesome.
nets, and he would gather those fish. He would smoke them, and he would go bring them to the elders, and to different people that he looked to in the community for help, and that was his way of giving back, And I didn't realize that till I was way older.
Well, that's awesome though. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a big brother that is he's not even my real brother. He's kind of just we adopted each other, I guess the best way to put it. And he's one for hunting, like really hunting. And I remember one
Yeah.
morning here because my mother has this strict rule with our property and all of our land that she doesn't allow people to hunt on the land. Um, and it's kind of it's got to be something about her. I'm not sure why. I haven't asked her either. I'm afraid to get hit by something. But even at 80, but she the one day, and my brother's name is Fish. His real name is Whaley, and so kind of like a big fish, and he weighs
Yeah.
like 460 pounds, so we called him Fish. But the one morning, I kept smelling something baking or cooking. I'm like, what is that? And I go out the front, and here is Fish frying squirrels on the open grill. And I said, "You better stop because if mom, where'd you get those squirrels from?" He goes, "I got them from behind the house." I'm like, if your mother sees that you were taking the squirrel, you know how much trouble you're going to be in." So she just yelled at him quick and says, "Are those my squirrels? Are those the squirrels that I feed?"
Are you grilling my squirrels?
Yep.
That gives a whole
but
different perspective on it, doesn't
but
it?
it was fun. Yeah. So we actually have a request
Yes,
for
we
you,
do.
Opie. Your mother would like you to sing the healer song, "Perfect for Prayers for All," which is great because
Yes.
on that Facebook page that we were both on, that was one of the things that I saw that was continuous, was because of the COVID thing. There was a lot of singers doing the healing
Yes.
song to um, pass along and to push prayer, push the prayer and healing
Yes.
for all One Nation, not just one, which was great, and
Yeah.
to help with the healthcare workers that are on the front line and everything else. So it's up to you whenever you're ready, Opie. I know I'm going to enjoy it. So
I know I am too.
Well, I'll start by giving you guys a little background.
okay,
This,
perfect.
this I've been fortunate to have been able to be one of the people who I call it catching songs. I don't really say like, oh, I made this song, or like I never say I wrote this song, because to me that's not how the songs come to me. They come at the most randomest of times. I could be, driving down the road while everybody's sleeping, and I'll start humming something, and it'll transform into a song, or
Okay.
sitting by myself, watching TV, or watching my son, or just random times, And I we're late enough here. I guess I can talk about it. There was a time in my life when I wasn't always the bestest person, the most positive person, the best person to be around, and I was pretty heavy into drugs and whatnot, and I was actually detoxing myself, and I went through about a week of just pain, everything that goes along with that, and I was just
Yeah.
tired of it. I wanted to be done with it. So I took it upon myself to just cold turkey. I'm gonna be done. And for like the first 5, 6 days, I couldn't do anything but just lay in bed, go take a hot shower, go lay down. You know what I mean? It wasn't until around that 7th day that I started to feel hunger. I started to feel all these things again, and I started listening to round dance music. I started listening to power music, and in doing this song came to me, and we were getting ready to sing at a round dance, a memorial for one of my big brothers, and I was showing this song to the guys. We were going to practice it, and I shared them the story I just shared with you about how the song came to be and where it came from and that. And one of the brothers just looked at me and tears in his eyes, and he's like, "Wow, bro, that's the healer." And
Yeah.
that's how this song came to be. So this song is very special to me. It's brought me from a very ugly place to a very beautiful place. I've since been drug alcohol free, for some years now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Fantastic.
I currently am a college student. I'm probably the oldest college student here on the campus.
Wow.
But I'm heading in the right direction
Yeah.
in all the things, and
Yeah.
I know a big part of it has to do with drum, and because
Yes.
of everything it's brought to me. So this song is it's very near and dear to my heart, and it comes from a place of love. You know what I mean? And pretty much wherever we go to round dances and all that. Someone will come and you know ask me, so can you sing the healer, please? Or they'll give me tobacco and say, hey, we have a request for the healer. We want the healer. And when the whole thing started over here in North Dakota with the Standing Rock, fighting for the water and all
Yeah.
that. I mean, they asked for the song there. I mean, I went to Nebraska where they had a really bad string of suicides at that time, young,
Um,
youth. They asked for that song there. So I go to these different places, and this song is asked, for, and it really it just makes me proud. Makes me proud to know that something that you know they say everything happens for a reason. Like,
it does.
you know, you have to have been through the bad to recognize and be
Yes.
appreciative of the good. And I'm I'm a firm believer of that because I've been there. You know what I mean? And I'm living proof that you can make the changes necessary in your life to better yourself if you want it.
Right.
Yes.
You know, So this song it's way more than just a song. It's way more than that. It means that much more to me, to my family, to my mother, obviously, to my
Yes.
kids, to my wife, it's 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 a powerful one for us.
It's kind of weird that you were saying all that because I was sitting here writing, and I know you can probably barely see it, but I was writing, and it's something that I do, and it's like what it says is we go through the things, the dark times to get to the light. It was a
Yeah.
path meant for us. Yes, we have choices, but that was laid down for us, and we have to go through it to get to the other side. So
Yeah.
it
I
was funny
couldn't
that
say
you
it
said
better,
that.
Yeah.
Synchronicity is wonderful.
Yeah, we're connecting. We're
Yeah.
connecting, Opie. We're connecting.
We actually we have a few we had a few guests over tonight for dinner. Like we said, today is the nationwide missing and murdered Indigenous Women's Day, where we recognize all of the women, the Native women who have gone missing, and their stories haven't been followed through on. People, it's like almost like people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's, we as a Native people have the highest rate of missing and murdered women than any
Ooh.
other race, out there. So it's a very tough time for us. I was really glad that my adopted brother came over, and my sister, my wife, and everyone. We shared a meal together. We shared a prayer together. And it's good. So yeah, I will. I was gonna see if I
Family's important.
I was gonna
Family's
see if I,
important.
oh,
Yeah.
see, I was gonna see if I could get her to come sing real fast. Des, you want to come sing with me real fast? Okay. All right, I got her.
Yay!
Yay.
We had a request for the healer. Oh, okay. So I kind of just gave him a little background. This is my beautiful wife, Desiree Demini.
Hi.
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 He is a Cree from the Opichee First Nation in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Wow.
So,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yes.
this is my loving life partner, my rock, my go-to, and it's also my singing partner. Like I said, we sing together all the time. And I'd like to have her sing this song with me. So
Okay.
we're gonna try and do our best, to accommodate you guys and your requests. And thank you for
Sounds good.
allowing us to share. So.
That was beautiful.
That was amazing.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that like I said, with singing, with everything, there's a balance. There's two parts to everything. The me here with the drum. I'm just one part, but when she sings with me, the woman part added to it just brings so much more feeling, emotion, spiritual connection to a song that than just one part. It's like, hey, okay, it's like making a peanut butter sandwich with no jelly or no jam. You just get
Right.
some dry
I get
peanut
it.
butter. You know what I mean? I was trying to find a cooler way to put it, but
No, that's okay. You're talking to a fat guy. I get it. I get it.
but yeah, I'm very proud of what I do, what we do together. We get asked to go to communities, to go speak to kids, to speak to schools, and to tell my story. A lot of people are ashamed to say they've been through some things. But I feel that the best lessons in life are the ones that are teachable. If
Yes.
my story can help someone else not have to go through that, you know what I mean, then that's all that really matters to me,
Yes.
So,
Right.
I'll never forget where I came from or how I got here. It's because of those times, because of the times where I was at my lowest, that I'm able to appreciate being up
Yes.
here now where I am, you know. And
Right.
I'm just we live a humble life here. We live here in Bismarck, North Dakota. We live on the United Tribes Technical College campus, and we're a family unit. We're tight. I was really laughing when you were telling me, Ted, about taking off your shoes and going out in your yard, and
Yeah.
feeling that because right across the street from our house is the legendary Lone Star Veterans Arena, and it's been
Oh,
Huh?
it's a power ground that has been here since easily since nine, the I want to say the late '60s, early '70s, and it's right outside my door, and there'll be times we'll just take the kids, we'll go for a walk, take the drum, go go sing a few in that arena that has been the home of so many champions, legends. You know what I mean? It'd be like going to play ball in Madison Square Garden or something. You know what I mean? Or just that
yeah.
that that aura, that feeling. So I really had a connection with what you were saying about that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
beautiful feeling.
Yes, it is. And I'm gonna say that I'm so proud that you went through your darkest times to come out to the light here because it takes a lot to talk about that. It takes a lot to bring that forth and to share that story. And to me, that's just amazing. You have the strength. You had it all along.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to realize it to put your foot down and say, "I've got to do this."
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't
Yes.
for me recognizing and realizing what was really important to me in life, and that was my family. My
Right.
wife, my children, and she had every opportunity to say, "I'm done. I had enough of this." You know what I mean? But she wouldn't. She wouldn't leave us. Like I tried to make her leave from time, but and that just goes to show a testament of our connection, our bond, our love. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
I'll be forever grateful. To Creator, to get you money to God for bringing my kids into my life and making me realize what's truly important. And like you said, family.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I
First
have.
and foremost.
Yeah, I have seen over this past 6 weeks how much people are starting to realize that it's not about going to the store and hanging out with your friends like at the mall. It's not going to all of these I don't know events. It's about family. Some of them are learning this, like, hey, I didn't. They're actually talking, they're actually communicating, and finding out things about themselves and their family, and it's an amazing thing to watch. They don't realize what their
Yeah.
parents had to go through. I was born in the '60s, so for me to sit down and have a conversation with my parents about how the '60s were compared to today, you find out like so many things that you had no idea about. and then to talk to your elders, talk to your grandparents, and if you're lucky enough to have your great grandparents around, to talk to them and hear, you know, their stories and all that. It's just, it will blow you away. So it's just something we need to know where we came from, you know. And I get so upset about certain things I see in the world today of how, and I don't know if you guys would agree, but I know for myself when I see statues of our past being torn down, and I understand why, I still look at it as that's a part of our history, and we have to look at those things as a reminders that we're never going to let that happen again, you know, and that's the way I
Yes.
look at it.
And I don't think that the people that are doing that perceive that, you know, because all they see is something that is from a time period that is offensive.
Right.
But the people were not offensive. Those were the customs of the day, which does not validate them, but that's just the way it was. And
Right.
it's so hard to try to explain to someone, I know this makes you crazy, but if you eradicate history, if you erase history, it gets repeated.
Hmm.
You have to learn from it and you have to tolerate the reminders of it so that you know and you can tell the people coming behind you that this is so terrible and you don't do these things. And that, you know, I mean, it matters.
It does matter. I
That is
mean, there's
the
to
best
me.
way to look at things, Kaz. That's like you said. You know, sometimes them them reminders are excuse me are necessary, like you said, so we don't make the mistakes that we did.
Yes.
You know, and you know the most important thing to do, you know, to take from a mistake is the lesson learned from it. You know what I mean? You know,
Yes.
you know, they say, you know, a man may fall down, but you know, it's not the number of times he falls, but the number of times that he gets up and dusts himself off. You know, and
Yes.
keeps on going.
Yeah.
And you know, and
Yeah.
Yes.
all that plays into each other. You know, so I really appreciated, you know, you saying that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
See, he didn't call you Kate. He called you Cat.
Oh
That's
yeah,
amazing.
I'm making music, but I'm on.
He's better than I am.
He
He's
doesn't have
better
a
than I
history.
am.
He doesn't have a history of it. You're
Yeah.
stuck in that rut.
If I could, you know, I would like to just take a minute, like I said, to talk about the MMIW thing today. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, our women are held in you know with the highest respect. You know, as Native people, we understand, you know, the importance of women. You know, in our societies, in our lives. You know, and so this missing and murdered Indigenous women thing, it hits close to home with me because I had a cousin who was murdered
Hmm.
Oh, I'm
in a
sorry.
reservation, and there was nothing done about it.
Oh,
They swept it under the rug. They
Oh
didn't
my word.
want to ask the questions. They didn't want to know. You know. They said they said, oh no, it was a suicide, and that's it. But the the evidence, the facts don't lead up to that. And you know, there's there's too many of us as Native people that have similar stories about, you know, women in their families, in their lives that this had happened to. You know, so you know, I'm sure if you went on the social power distance page today, Ted, you would see MMIW plastered all over it. You know, because you know, for our people, it is a very sensitive subject. You know, my wife, she like every other woman, she likes makeup. She likes to watch. She watches makeup tutorials. You know what I mean? And
right.
there was a woman who did live streams and done makeup. Her name was Bianca. And she was a Latina woman, and she like had like, you know, like over 1 million followers, you know, on her Facebook, her Instagram, like 3 million. And she had made some comments about, oh, I can't wait, you know, till these casinos open up, and you know, these Indians have their own laws, you know what I mean? And then she said something about, oh, but I'll never go to a reservation because then women just get killed, and you know, like, people don't even care. And
Wow.
so she had a lot of she kind of woke a beehive there that she really, I don't think she understood the gratifications of her comment, you know. And
Right.
my wife had seen that, and she had commented on one of her posts, and she ended up like deleting her post and making kind of a backhanded apology, like saying, "Oh, I didn't know what I was saying, but f all you haters anyway." Like that's not really an
Wow.
apology, you know.
Whoa.
No,
So
that's
her followers on Facebook went from yesterday like being like over 1 million to like 700,000 today. So she lost a lot of people's a lot of people didn't appreciate that because and then she someone one of like a native woman had commented on her post and said, why don't you get educated in the subject first before you start speaking on something you don't really know about. And
yeah.
she told her, she was like, why don't you go get murdered and lost, like,
Wow.
so
Wow.
and to do that at such a time as today where we are honoring all of our relatives who have been lost due to government police not wanting to look into certain things. It was a
Right.
really bad move, a really insensitive move on her part, you know.
Yeah. This upsets me, to be honest with you, because it's like
Totally.
we don't see that stuff. We don't see where the Native American women are missing. We don't see that stuff. And that's a shame because I think if more people knew what was happening, um, more would stand up and pay attention and try to get involved because that's first and foremost. That's it's not about a race. It's about people. It's about um, all of us,
It's about you don't
and
do that.
yeah,
Period. No
Right.
matter who.
Yeah.
that's terrible. I mean, I would never, and from our side, karma is one of those things. Like we can only hope that the
Yes.
karma will come back to her and say, hey, my grandmother used to say, there's always a bad apple in every bushel, and the one that you weed out and you throw away because you think it's rotten, you don't. You don't throw it away. You squish it and you turn it into applesauce or apple juice um, because they do still serve a purpose. But unfortunately, you can't get through to some people,
No.
and they're always going to be the way that they are. But it's a terrible thing. And Opie, please know that anytime something needs to be said, please, I will do everything in my power with my social media to help at any time. So you have an outlet with me at any time.
Appreciate that.
And I would be glad to share that too.
Yeah, it's just like
So
I said, it's really
Because
unfortunate that that it had to happen, that it had to happen at all. But the fact that it had to happen, on this day, where
yes.
we look to honor these ones, you know what I mean? It's been,
right,
that's like all I've seen on social media today is this how sad everybody was, how hurt everybody was at the fact that I mean, this woman has a big social platform, you know what I mean, and to just say
it's just
uneducated
sad
things like that,
that she couldn't
especially
do something positive with it.
yeah.
Right.
And even to try and like right or wrong and to be to be legitimate with an apology would have gone a lot farther than than saying, oh well, I didn't know what was going on, you know and F all you my haters, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
that's not sincere to me, you know what I mean.
yeah,
Nick, I appreciate you, you know what I mean. I'm just a man, who has, like I said, I've been raised by women, my whole life. My aunts, my mom, my grandma. So I've been taught that this is the way we treat them. And I just now like I said, my wife has been she kind of took up the fight with this, and I wanted to acknowledge that for all our viewers out there. You know what I mean, that we are, it's not the fact that we don't try and educate, because we do. You know what I mean, but a lot of times it falls
right,
on deaf ears. You know,
right,
Yes.
right, right. And that it's like I said, it's sad that people that have those platforms just they could do so much more. And we know even with this whole COVID thing, with everybody locked in their homes, there's still so much hate that
Yes.
just festers. And there obviously are some people we'll never be able to reach, but all we can hope for is that the people that are good, that carry the goodness in their heart, will be the ones that will be on top of all of this when it's all said and done, because I think we are finding that
I
more
think
people are
so.
understanding that we need to be more protective of our neighbors and our friends and our family because of things such as this virus. This virus was a wake up call in so many ways to all of our people, and it's very important that we take heed to what it says.
Yes.
I know that people, and I've said it before. It's like, the Thunderheart, the movie. It was funny. They say, "Hey, oh, I listen to the wind." And it's funny, but if you stand outside and you just listen, being a spiritual person, you can feel what's there and what's coming your way. And
Yes.
I've always said that another wind will blow and change will come with it. And that's something that I was raised with. That's how we speak here, and it's so funny that when I say that, the kids will poke fun at me for saying stuff like that. But if they actually were to stop and listen, they
Yeah.
would understand that I say these things because it's something that was instilled to me by family and all of that stuff. Everything that we have starts at home. The education, the history, and all this is used to move forward. They're stepping stones to
Yes.
that, you know, path to life, to wherever we go. And people just don't listen, and it's so scary that generation after I didn't even know there was an X generation. I'm so far out of some of this. I mean, it's like I knew about what's this next generation that they call it, the
Millennial.
millenniums, and now there's an
Millennials.
X. Yeah, millennials, and now there's an X or a Z. I'm like, where have I been? It's like I don't know what half of
You're
these.
living your life. You're living a good life. That's why you
Well,
don't keep up with
I
that.
would hope it's good. I mean, I'm on the air every single night. I'm busting my hump to give people an outlet, with Talk with Teddy, to
Yeah.
share their lives,
Well,
with a little fun.
the same thing with our people. We are. I'm a part of what they call the seventh generation, and in the prophecy it says the seventh generation is who will rise, who will step up, and they will take control, and they will make the moves necessary in order to better um, everybody, not just our
Right.
people, but everybody on Mother Earth as a whole, because we are, when it comes down to it, we are all related. We are all one people.
We
No
are.
Right.
matter what
Right.
color we are, how much hair we have on our heads, or anything.
I'm leaving my hat on for that one, Opie. I'm leaving my hat on for that one.
Don't be ashamed, brother. This comes with age and wisdom. That's where I'm.
You have to have room for all that knowledge.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
what's funny, Cat, is my son, my baby son, his hair is the same color as ours.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I saw him. He is.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
it's I wanted to share something when you were talking about reaching back to the younger generation and the winds of change coming and that kind of thing. When
Hmm.
my grandson was about 2, I'm a hammock sitter. I love hammocks. I like watching the stars and the clouds blow around and stuff. And we were sitting outside, and it was a very blustery kind of day, and he'll lay across me when he was little on the hammock because he would jump off or fall off. But he felt the wind, and it was so interesting to him. He just kind of looked at me. I said, "That's wind." I said, "If you wait just a minute, you're hearing it, but if you wait just a minute, you'll feel it. It'll kiss your cheek." And he had great big curly blonde hair and stuff. It was wonderful hair. But the kind my grandma used to say was wasted on a boy. But it was so funny because
uh,
he sat there. He sat there and he was just like, "What?" And then it came, right? And then it kissed him and it went by. And I said, "Now, just hang on a minute. You tell me when you hear it, because you'll hear it first." And so he was listening for the wind. And then it came, and then it kissed him again, and it went by. And that was probably my favorite afternoon with that child so far. And he is 5 now. So we've
it's
had a lot of
amazing.
afternoons.
it's amazing how little things like that, and that's something that you can talk about, but like coming from a relationship, my family's relationship of having both
Right.
the Irish and then the Indian, and hearing their stories and their beliefs, and how some of them are very similar. Um, but as a
Yes.
child growing up with this stuff, you hope that you're able to pass that on and that they will
Right.
understand, you know, you know what we did, what we heard or what we felt. And it all starts at home. Like I've always said, it all starts at home. And
It does.
once home um, flourishes and natures, and the little chickens leave the nest, little birds leave the nest, you hope that that goes with them, and they
Yeah.
don't forget where they came from. And sometimes it's hard. I have a nephew that has um, what is it? For some reason, it's driving me nuts. It's he actually watched his brother get killed, so he has that
Post
PTSD.
traumatic stress.
Yeah, yeah, and he hasn't been right since, and he's now in his 30s, and he saw it when he was 8 years old.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I've tried over the years to try to teach him, certain things, to slow down, to don't get so frustrated. I understand the pain. I understand
Right.
what you're going through. And there are times where, still to this day, he'll listen, um, but that takes over your life. I mean,
Yes.
it does, and it's very tough. So now, with that experience, and it's shameful that it happened to him, but we're able to take that and to teach the next generations and the family. It's like, this is something that has happened in the past. This is
Yes.
how you have to pay attention now. You have to open your eyes. It can't be a narrowness when you're looking. It has to be wide. You have to see all of it, not just that. And I have an autistic godson right now who is 7, and he melts my heart every day, every day. Oh, and it's not even.
Yeah.
It's my Teddy. And
Oh,
he learns from me every day, and I love it. And he loves to sing. I taught him that song, Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? And he actually went to school, this was like last year, and sang that song to his class, and nobody knew what the song was. And the teacher actually sent back a note and said, "Who taught him that really old song?" And we sent back a note, and he actually went back and sang it again, and I went in for show and tell, and it was amazing.
you were the show and tell.
I was the show and tell, but
I love that.
it's a memory that this kid will always have. And being
Yes.
autistic, and he's high definite, or what do they call it, high functioning, so it's very important, for him. And we did a whole Bigfoot thing. I actually had Buddy the Bigfoot come to the house because he loves Bigfoot,
Oh,
and it's just one of those things that he loves. And so I had Buddy the Bigfoot come in full costume, the whole thing standing out by the road. And as soon as Wyatt got to the door and he saw Buddy the Bigfoot, he ran up and gave him the biggest hug in the world, and said how much he loved Bigfoot and he believed in Bigfoot. And Buddy handed him a T-shirt, and that kid was in awe for days. In fact, he took it for show and tell with a picture of him that I had of him and Buddy the Bigfoot. And to this day, that kid wants to know everything that I can find about Bigfoot. And he's like, Bigfoot's nature, right? Bigfoot is represents nature, the earth and everything. And I'm like, yes, he does. It's so funny that he took that and realized, all of this stuff. And so to me, it just brings me back to where family and our own teachings, our own education, and what we have at home is where it all starts. Is that we have to take what we know and pass it on in hopes that that will help fuel their
yes.
future. So
What he said.
sorry, I just had to get it out. It's just I go off on tangents once in a
I just
while.
meant what Opie said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that nice slow clap for you.
Oh, well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Normally at this time we have a game,
Uh oh.
and I didn't prepare one.
Oh, thank goodness.
with Talk with Teddy, we usually have weird pictures of animals, weird animals, and you give them names or something along those lines. But I wanted to hear Opie's story. I wanted to hear him sing. I wanted to get some of the important
Yes.
things I believe out to my listeners.
Well, I think
And
it's a big deal. I think it was
I do.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like a
I reached
decision.
out. I reached out to that page a few times, and Opie was the only one that replied. I I, I wanted to have more, but it is what it is. He
Well,
was meant to be the one to
Things
join
work the
me.
way they're supposed to. There are no coincidences.
I'm originally my mother on my mother's side. I'm from the Bois Forte band of Chippewas, and on my father's side, I'm from the Leech Lake band of Ojibways. But I've been born and raised my whole life within the St. Paul, Minneapolis metropolitan area in Minnesota. So I've been born and raised a city kid, and but the funny thing about the Twin Cities is it's a hub for a lot of tribes. It's we have South Dakota here, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota right in the middle. And it being the biggest metropolitan area in all the states, a lot of it attracts a lot of different tribes, and so we have an adverse, number of tribes in our little area there. But I so they've had they call them survival schools within the cities, and one of the big one of the big schools in Minneapolis was the Heart of the Earth Survival School, and the one of the big one in St. Paul was the Red Schoolhouse, and they were
Mm,
all geared towards us educating our Indian youth, our Native youth.
mm,
And I went to both schools. I actually taught at both schools, and growing up as a kid, there was the one mainstay in the schools was a legendary singer by the name of Johnny Smith. He was from the Red Lake Reservation in northern Minnesota, and if anybody in Minnesota who's ever been to a powwow, who's ever heard powwow singing, they know they knew who Johnny Smith was, and he uh, he took so many of us young guys under his wing and taught us the ways of a drum. Not just to be able to be a singer, but the protocols that go along with it, the teachings that go along with it. There's more to being a singer than just picking up a drum and singing.
Yes.
To us, it's a way of life. I told my uncle one time, that I wanted to be a singer when I was young, and he cried, and I was like confused, like why? I thought you'd be proud of me. And he said, I am. He said, I just know that your life is going to be a difficult one because you no longer your life no longer belongs to you, it belongs to the people. Your work is going to be whatever they ask of you, and that's how my life has been. But this old man, Johnny, he used to call me. He'd be like, call me on the phone. My boy, come over. I'd go over and visit him, and he would tell me stories. He would share songs with me, not just our songs, but songs for our ceremonies, for our doings. Family songs,
Yes.
things like that. And when he told me, he said, one day you'll be sitting in my seat here, and there will be a young man in your seat, and you will have to be ready for when that day comes.
Yeah.
Now, when he said that, I never really thought too much into it, and but he passed on, and the older I've gotten, I've it's all started to make sense to me. I've kind of come into that zone. Like I said, I've been fortunate to being able to be a man of the drum for over 35 years. So I've been through a few things, you could say.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I now have people who look to me for for guidance or just have questions, and want to know
Yeah.
something. So I'm I've kind of stepped into that role, just like Johnny had said to me many years ago. And
We all have roles. That's important. It's
yeah,
all very
That's
important.
a very important one too.
so it
Hmm.
really makes me feel good, and it makes me proud, that I was able to be
Yeah.
here with you guys tonight, and to just to share a few things about the drum singing, about my life, about whatnot, because we we all need that person to talk to, and for me, it was you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like you said, you reached out to other people. However, it happened. We were meant to be here tonight with each
Yeah.
other. You know,
Yes.
I truly believe that. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you when you replied to me, I could have been a giddy schoolgirl at that time. I mean, I was jumping up, I was all excited. I was because this meant a lot to me that you were here, and it meant a lot to me to put that out as a post because there's a lot of things that have not been said or shared. Especially, I mean, same with Kat. We know a lot of social media people, especially radio networks and shows,
Yep.
and when I said I open my show to you, I mean it. Anything that you need to say
Yes.
or do, I totally mean that. And I feel a kinship with you, and I
yes,
hope
yes,
it
yes,
comes to you as well. And
yes,
I think it's very important as people, not labels, not
Yeah.
separation, but as people, as one, um, to look out for each other and to have things to
Yes.
share with each other. And with Talk with Teddy is a variety show. And sure, we get crazy, we get nuts, we have a lot of fun. There's times where, we are a rated M show for mature, but it provided. I started this under the premise of, I'm sitting here. We're 6 weeks into the epidemic, and I was going crazy. And it's like, you know what? You have a network,
Yep.
a full radio network that you could be sharing things with a whole bunch of people. So I took it upon myself to create Talk with Teddy and bring in a variety of different people to expand
Yes.
all of our knowledge, all of our horizons, everything at once, because it is so important that we reach out to each other and to share who we are to grow. And if one person watches the show tonight and takes something from that
Yep.
helps them, no matter what, then I did my job. I did what this whole plan was,
Yes.
and it was a plan built on I'm going crazy. Teddy's going crazy, but it's worked out famously. I
Yeah.
mean, tomorrow night I have a singer on, another singer. This one is he did a lot of country music back in the day, and he's inspired other musicians from the area to do things as well. He's kind of helped the newer generation, and and this is the bad, this is some of the darker side of Talk with Teddy on Saturday. I have a platform with men versus females and secrets and stuff like that they keep, and it's just to get the truth. It's just to finally break down certain walls between people, and the reason for that show is because recently out of Rochester, which is about 35 minutes from me, with this whole COVID thing with people being locked in their homes, a father killed his daughter. And I don't know the story. I'm not familiar with it, but I know it was because they were locked up and they couldn't do anything. And if that happens, then there's other people out there as well that just are living in the same dwelling or home or area, and they just
Yes.
can't stand each other or whatever the case may be. But that's why I brought this other show on Saturday, so that they could discuss their differences, um, as in, you know, different sexes, male and female, to kind of bring that whole thing. You remember? Do you remember? Women are from Venus, men are
Yes.
from
yes,
Mars.
yes.
It's very similar to that, but here there's no holds barred. I'm going to allow them to say what they have to say to get it off their chest, so that they are able to free themselves of that, belt pent up whatever,
Frustration and
and
anger and
hopefully it helps. I mean,
hurt.
and we'll all learn to what what the opposite sex it goes through, what the burdens that they carry, so we'll see. But But that's the way Teddy goes. Talk to Teddy is just for every platform, everything out
Yeah.
there, and I love doing it no matter.
Well, you have a new fan with me, Ted. I'm definitely like
Yes.
when you reached out to me, I mean, I kind of, to be honest, didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? So when you sent me your Facebook link, I went back and I checked out a few of your shows, and I was like, wow, okay, well, I wonder what we're gonna talk about. But but seeing like the different type of guests that you had on, you know what I mean? I got the fact that you were like you had a diverse way of going about your show and that. So, I was at the same time, I was kind of curious, like, okay, what are we going to do? At the same time, I was excited because I was like, this is
Yes.
something different, this is something new. And like you said, it's so awesome, for me as a native man, you know what I mean, as a singer and that, to be able to kind of to broaden my horizons, so to say, and to step out of my comfort zone and to come on, the show with you. And,
Yeah.
it's been such an awesome experience.
Well, thank you.
You guys are just, I'm sitting here like just glowing. I'm like, I mean, this totally made my night. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, thank you. I just wanted to reach out and do what I do. I love people. Like I said somewhere
He
towards the
really
beginning,
does.
I do believe there's a goodness in everyone, and it's just reaching that. It's that whole thing,
Yes.
like touch one person. That's all you have to do is touch one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Talk with Teddy is definitely a different platform. It's different from what people expect. I have seen many different types of people log into my show, which I never thought would ever log into my show. And I still get some that just kind of pass through, and that's fine. It's not for everyone, but it's a reality show, but it's a
Yes.
variety show. There's no holds bar. It's the people are real. None of it's fake. It's who we are. We lay our cards on the table. This is it. And
Just have a conversation.
yeah, just have a conversation. And
Yeah.
Opie, I am so pleased that you accepted my invitation. I mean, it means the world to me that you actually followed through and came here tonight.
Yes, I was very, very honored to have been asked, you know what I mean, and to be able to share a little bit, and because, like the whole thing with the makeup artist, making her comments and people saying, well, why don't you educate us?
Yes.
Well, it's not that we don't try to, you know what I mean? We are,
Right.
it's just, I don't think we're giving enough opportunity to. So with me being able to come on here and to speak with you guys about some situations and topics that I hold near and dear to me,
Yes.
it's been, just so pleasurable,
Yes.
Yeah, you got me curious though because you had that smile, that smirk on your face, and you said you checked out my Facebook page. So I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering which ones you were talking about. So
Oh,
you got me curious.
down the line.
Oh, did you? Oh no. I'm trying to think. It's like which ones did he watch? But it's funny because I've had people say to me, so why do you do the show? And simply it was because of the whole COVID thing. That's how it started,
Yeah.
the pandemic, and but it's funny who's reached out to me as well. It's like Friday night. I have 3 drag queens coming from different parts of the world. That are coming on to discuss their shows and everything that they do. And I'm so excited about it because it's something new. It's something different.
Yeah, it's awesome. Everybody has a voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everyone should be given the opportunity to share. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
I've always been taught that you should leave yourself open to learn something new
Yes.
every day. You know what I mean? The day that you stop learning is the day that you just remain idle. You don't
Yes.
progress. You don't go further because because you think you know it all, or you think for whatever reason you don't you're not having an open mind about things.
So I'm gonna ask, because your mother put this up here. How do you pronounce that?
Sabe,
Sabe.
yeah, sabe.
Sabe. So I'm gonna ask.
I don't know
I'm
what
gonna ask.
she's doing up. She's old grandma hours. I thought she'd be sleeping.
So do you guys
Hey, I'm a
have
grandma.
stories? Do you guys have stories of Sabe? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
guys have stories?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's different stories, and they vary from tribe to tribe. I couldn't speak on like say the Lakota's stories about about Bigfoot.
I would love someday for you, or
Yes.
if you get somebody else to come on here, I would love to do another episode with you and talk about stuff like that. That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
You know,
I was just
talk about.
gonna tell you that my I have one of my adopted sisters is here right now. She's a very well-known advocate, dancer, comedian.
Really?
She has a very big platform, and her name is Tanya Jo Hall, and she would be awesome for your show.
I would love to have her. I'd love to have her.
Come here once.
Just.
I'm gonna bring her on screen real fast so she can say hi. She's a very awesome person. They have their own podcast in the morning. I'm gonna give the shameless plug right here. It's called Coffee and Stories with Auntie and
Sing Along and Smudge with Uncle.
Sing Along and Smudge with Uncle.
Oh, that is awesome.
And
Awesome. Hi.
Right here, Tanya. She's a very she's an awesome comedian. She goes into character, but besides that, she's a very beautiful person inside and out. And I would suggest that you should get her on your show too. She has some awesome stories.
I agree. She'd
be someone that would be perfect for this show.
There you go. So you just have her friend request me on Messenger or whatever, and we'll set it up. I need shows. I need people. So yes.
I need them too.
Okay. All right. So there you go.
We will share you.
Yes. So now you just got 2 shows booked for you.
There you go. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that are laughing extremely loud in the background.
Yeah.
That's okay. She's making them laugh. That's the laughter.
She's a comedian.
Is the best
what you
medicine.
do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do have to say there's a couple things here. Nick says certainly a very mesmerizing episode. Thank you.
Awesome. And hi to Nick.
Hi Nick, and here's the love. You do a fantastic job, Teddy. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Great show.
And of course, much respect to Opie Day. I enjoy Opie and Des. Is that how we say it? Or Des music?
Des, yeah, that's my
wife. Okay. They are beautiful people with a beautiful family. So that is awesome.
That is awesome
to have there. So, well, it's a pleasure. Do you wanna sing again, or are you all good to go?
No, I could sing another one. I actually kind of had a song in mind. Like I said.
Oh, awesome. I love this.
I know, right?
With today being a special day, in honor of our beautiful women, I want to sing a song. This song was made by a legend in our native community, who has passed on. His name was Mark Kingbird Sr. He was from Red Lake, Minnesota, and he was growing up as a kid. He was like he was like Michael Jordan, to our singers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And someone I looked up to my whole life, and so as I've gotten older, I've gotten to be really close friends with his sons who are also singers, and they share a lot of his music with me, And this song that I'm going to sing, it has the Anishinaabe language in it, and in it says the spirits are asking me to dance. So I just thought that, and it's a jingle dress song. It's a jingle dress healing song, and so for everybody out there, that's still hanging in with us right now, everyone out there who has relatives on their mind that they haven't seen in a while, that haven't come home, or that has been murdered and not investigated, or anyone that just feels that loneliness, I want to sing this song for them. Like I said in the translation, the spirits are asking me to dance.
Beautiful.
Money to be now. Hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey. nani me Yankee money to be na. Hey ha, hey hey. Hey na shawi ni matina ni me Yankee money to be na. Hey ha, hey hey.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Yes, thank you so much. I did, I do have a question though, before we depart here. Singing, like I'm a different type of singer, but some of the notes that you hit when you're singing are amazing to me. Um, I'm used to singing. Well, I can sing AC/DC, which is very high and raspy, but it just amazes me with singers like you. It puts me at awe. That's what I wanted to say. It puts me at awe. It's just amazing, and thank you for showing and sharing that with us here. I
Yes.
really appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I've been singing for for over 30 years, so it's something that at the same in one hand it comes naturally, on the other hand it's also a craft that I've worked really hard to perfect is the wrong word. I've worked really hard to improve every day. And I have my little tips, my little tricks. Like when my wife knew I was going to be singing earlier, she came and brought me hot tea. Like, for me, singing
Yes.
hot liquids always help my voice. You know what I mean? And yeah, we hit a different range of vocals.
It's
High,
just amazing to me. I'm you know, I'm just at awe.
but like I said, on behalf of myself, my family, my mother who's probably still hanging in here. Thank you to you for for being the person you are, and having your eyes open to, and being open to experience new things, and to have your wide range of guests that you have on the show is awesome, because somewhere out there, like you said, you have reached somebody, and
Yes.
tomorrow's show you're going to reach somebody as well, and you don't limit yourself to just a certain class of topics or guests, and that your eyes are wide open in that aspect, and because of that, you are going to reach that many more people. And on behalf of us as a native people, I appreciate whenever anyone gives us an opportunity to share a little bit about ourselves as a people as well. So, because
Well,
not many people actually let us go on with this, and it's it's been a blessing.
well, you are welcome back anytime. And
Yes.
if you would like to at some point bring other singers with you and do something, I would love it. And I'm sure
Yes.
Kat would too. And I
I
would love to
would.
have you back on. That would be fantastic. And a dancer. Oh, I'd love to see dancers.
Oh
I
yeah,
know, right?
that would be awesome. We could definitely do that. Definitely.
Cool. We're gonna set some up, Kat. We're gonna do it. We're
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
And
That'll
thank
be
you, Kat,
fantastic.
for being here and being the gracious host that you've been. You know what I mean. Your words have been very inspiring, and I could tell that everything you said was from the heart and came from a place of love. And the things that you shared, about your grandson and the wind and all that. It's just I love hearing other people that are in touch with themselves, with nature, with the spirits around us, like you are too. And
Thank you.
it's been a very memorable moment. I'll always hold this first night with Talk with Teddy very close to me, because it's been nothing but good feelings.
Oh, love everybody
Oh, the
hug.
group hugs.
Virtual
Yes.
hug.
Virtual hugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, one of the reasons I asked Kat to do this is, first of all, her and I haven't seen each other in a while, and we both
Yes.
run a network, and she does a phenomenal job at what she does, and
Thank you.
I really wanted to share this with her, so that's why I asked her. Even though she's from a different network, I'm just like, hey, we're friends. Come on, let's do
We
this. Who
are
cares,
friends.
And
We're networking.
so yeah, we're networking. There you
We're
go.
networking.
We're
Yeah.
networking the networks, and I knew she was the one that I needed tonight. So it was just
Thank you.
she's one of my favorites. So that's why I had her here. So
You guys
and
are a good combo together. You know what I mean?
ooh, I've heard
We
that
think
before.
so too. Yeah.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
He told me that when we very first met.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys accentuate each other
Yeah.
very well. You know what I mean? You pick up where one leaves off. It's good. It's good chemistry on the show here. I'm
Yeah.
very, very, very happy.
Who
Thank
knows
you.
what the future holds? The wind might bring in something else. You never know.
All right.
I'm always open. I listen to the wind.
There you go. All right,
So,
folks. I just want to say here, thank you so much for joining us here, and to Opie again, and
Yes.
to Miss Cat for joining us. I do want to put this out here because I forgot to do it earlier. Our show tonight was brought to us by DeVille Inc. Please go and check them out. They are a fantastic. In fact, I have ink all over me. They do tattoos and piercings. They do all that stuff, and they're very clean. They're very good people. It is actually ran by Tony DeVille, who is on the TV series Ink Masters, and very professional. The great people. Great people. In fact, the newest. Where is it? This side. I can't look at the camera and do this because you can't. But my latest tat. Let me see if I can do this.
where are we going with this? I'm a little uncomfortable.
My latest tat.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
My latest tat is from my family's history, from the Seneca people to where we are from the Wolf Clan, where we are actually, if you think of science fiction or stuff like that, we are the people of the wolf. We are
Maroon.
shapeshifters, all that stuff. You know, you hear those stories. That's where my bloodline came from, and it's kind of weird. You know, I've heard the stories, and you know, I was raised with you have to listen to the bird, and you have to do this. As a little white kid, you were kind of like, huh, what? You know, but you learned, you know, and I learned some of the language. I didn't learn it all. My favorite was Koga, which is the raven or the black bird, and I was always taught about the owl and the messages that it brings, and so many different things. But the wolf has always been in my bloodline, and I love sharing the stories with that as well. Oh my God, so cute.
That's so cute.
So cute. But I just wanted to share that quick. Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Hi there.
He was sleeping this whole time and he just woke up.
Oh no.
We'll have a fun quarantine hour night here.
There you
Yes.
go. But again, so thank you everybody for joining us here. And
Thanks
Opie,
for
like I
having me.
said, anytime, Cat, anytime. I
was
see,
nice
I said
meeting
it. I haven't screwed it up that many times tonight. I'm doing okay. Yes, I
I
did.
answer you anyway.
But you guys have a wonderful evening, and the video for this Opie will be up actually as soon as I'm end the broadcast. It'll be there, so you can share as much as you'd like
Awesome.
to pass it on, and it will be on the audio side on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Deezer, Audio FM. There's just so many different platforms I'm on, and so everybody can check this out at a later date as well. I think that's it. I think I said it all with all the talking I've done tonight. So
Awesome.
you guys, please be safe.
Yeah.
Please be safe.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to you guys
Nice to
soon.
meet you.
Peace out.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thank you and my guests for joining me here on Talk with Teddy. Tune in tomorrow night when we get to do this all over again. Be safe and look out for one another. Don't forget that Talk with Teddy is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, so please go and subscribe. Thank you.